Welcome back to Monetize Your Skills Academy. We have just covered the overview of the 7 steps framework so that you can monetize your skills. Now that you understand the big picture, we want to delve into the very first module. Remember, we are laying a firm foundation. The first 4 steps are all foundational. So step number 1 is discover. Positively identify how you are divinely wired and gifted. Okay, so that's what we're going to be covering in module 1, the first module. Okay, so now let's get started. So here I want you to have a pen and paper. Make sure that you have something to take notes on if you're using your iPad, your laptop, computer, whatever have you. But we want to make sure that you actually are doing these exercises. They're simple, fill in the blanks, like right off the bat, not a whole lot of writing. I want you to actually write the first thing that comes to mind so that you can really get the momentum going. Then afterwards, you can go back now and maybe reflect a little bit more, and then you want to answer the questions again. So now let's deal with, again, how do we discover what your unique gifts and talents are? How are you divinely wired? What makes you special? What are your gifts? What are your talents? What are your expertise? Let's find out now. So we're going to give you some tools. For many of us, we like tools, right? So how can you assess your own giftedness? Well, I'm just going to mention a few tools and then we ask you some questions, okay? So these are some of the tools that have helped me that other people use in the space, right? So first one, you might have heard about Strengths Finders 2.0. And then there's another one called DISC, D-I-S-C. If you go type in on the internet, if you download the report or exercise here, you can probably click on the link as well. But pretty much strengthfinders2.0.com. If you go there, you will be able to actually take this survey that actually helps you to discover how you are wired. Okay, I have personally taken this as well, and including the DISC assessment as well. So those are stuff that you can use. Another one, especially for those in the faith-based community, the best assessment that I have found totally in all my life is actually this one, Crown's Career Direct Guidance System. Okay, this one is it actually going to take about an hour to complete, but I take this ever so often. Every few years I actually go back and retake this assessment to make sure that I am still kind of connected and doing what I'm called to do. And of course, time changes too. You know, like for example, when I first took this, I was in the military. I mean, I was a single guy, right? But then I took it again in a relationship, in a committed relationship. I took it again when I got married, and now that I have a son, things have changed. So as your life changes, situation changes, and your values can actually morph and change over time because we are growing, we are learning. And so this is one that I keep coming back to, and I highly recommend it, right? Matter of fact, out of the 3 that's on the screen right now, I actually recommend Crown Career Direct as the number 1. Then, of course, any others, right? So some of you business folks, especially, I mean, if you've done some business courses, you might have come across the Myers-Briggs assessment or the Colby indexes and assessments. So those are 2 good professional tools and resources that you can use. Again, if you go to just type in these things in Google, and you will be able to have that. If you have the download of this PowerPoint presentation or the assessment sheets, then you can actually just click on there and it should take you directly to that website. But nonetheless, again, just simply type all of these into Google and then you will be able to find them, okay? Now, spiritual gift survey, right? If you have read or listened to the 6-figure interviews on this membership site, then you have read the story of Sue Oyuela. Right, Sue Oyuela is making over $200,000 a year using Airbnb. But one of the things that is special about Sue is that Sue actually discovered her gifts as an administrator and so forth from taking spiritual gift surveys. And those are some of the things that I too have taken myself. Like I said, I'm in the faith-based space in addition to business. Most of my undergrad and graduate work actually is in business field. But I do like spirituality and faith-based things as well. That's mainly my intrinsic calling and how I am divinely wired as well. And then there are other temperament tests that you can take, you know, knowing how your personality is. Are you a choleric, phlegmatic, and so forth? And so those are helpful because you have to know yourself. There's a saying, man know thyself, woman know thyself. If you know yourself, then you know your value. Because that will even affect how you charge, what you charge and what you even get into. Right? There's some things, even though I may have some affinity to it, I'm not going to do it because that's not how I'm wired. Right? So knowing my own spiritual gifts, knowing how I'm wired, knowing what my temperaments are, I can now be able to monitor myself and get into certain things and reject others as well that are not necessarily fulfilling to me. Okay? So I wish that even some of our kids would know this stuff before they actually choose majors and so forth in college, right? And even as adults, we get into the middle-age crisis because one of the things is that we do jobs simply because maybe it's just the money only, and so we become dissatisfied. Matter of fact, in the West, all the research says that the majority of people and workers in the West are totally dissatisfied with their career. So we wake up one day, we're working for a boss that we don't like, at a job that we don't like, for salary we don't like, right? And so we are miserable. But one of the reasons is because we don't know who we are and what we wanted in the first place and what truly tickles our heart. So here are some questions that I do want you now to actually fill in the blanks, okay? So these assessment tools are for you to take on your own. I recommend you take at least 3 of them, okay? At least 3. Take the time, trust me, it's going to be worth it. And most of these are less than $100 to be able to take. So don't say, oh, I'm not going to take this because, listen, if you want to make 6 figures and you can't invest less than $100 to take some assessment to figure out how you are gifted so you can package those gifts and talents, that will potentially make you 6 figures, then honey, I don't think you're in the right program. Because seriously speaking, that's what it's all about. You have to know yourself first before you can even serve other people. All right. So now here are some self-assessment questions. I want you to just write the very first thing that comes to your mind. Question number 1 and 2. What do I really love to do and what stirs or moves my heart? Just write down, what is it that you really, notice the emphasis is on really, that's the operative word, and love. What do you really love to do? More than anything else, what do you love to do? Another thing is, what moves and stirs your heart? For me, that's one of the reasons I transitioned from the military. I had an experience, a spiritual transformation, and I still value service, but I wanted to serve people at a more heart and intrinsic level. And so I transitioned and I got into a nonprofit I worked with them for 7 long years, and it never felt like work because I was in my zone. I was able to travel to many different countries. Now we've gone to over 25 different countries. But that's because I figured out what moves me, what stirs my heart, and I want to serve people who are underserved, people who are neglected and at-risk communities. I want to be able to help build up and serve those people. But again, to do that, I need resources. That's why I'm monetizing my skills, and that's what is required if you're going to actually fulfill that type of a calling. So question number 3. What causes you pain? Now, what makes you mad? What do you get upset about? For example, there's an organization called MADD, M-A-D-D, right? Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. Why was that organization formed? It was formed because several mothers lost their children to an accident because the other driver was drunk. So they created because they were in pain. There are people who become counselors because they might have gone through abuse or divorce or something like that. And out of that pain, they were able to birth a new experience. There are many doctors who became doctors because they might have lost a loved one through some kind of disease, whatever it may be. And their life calling became, I'm going to solve that problem. So what causes you pain might be a clue to what you've been called to correct and serve so other people don't experience the same pain that you have experienced. Think about it. It's powerful. And that's why we should be grateful. When you express gratitude for even your past and even the problems in your life, because those problems can actually be turned into blessings if you would think entrepreneurially and actually develop a cure for your own pain, then now you can be able to monetize that. Here are 2 other questions. What kind of books do you read most, right? And what topics do you really love talking about? These 2 are what I know. I love business. Like I said, even though I'm in the faith-based space, one of the things is that I always like reading business books, management books, success books, personal development, professional development type of thing. And so I'm always drawn to that no matter what. And so again, the bulk of all my education is in that field, okay? So what I am saying is that if you find yourself reading a lot of business books by John Maxwell, perhaps you might have a knack for leadership. If you find yourself reading a lot of relationship books, maybe you might be able to get into that niche and provide products, programs, and services, or even become an affiliate, right? We talk about 7 different ways to monetize your skills online, where you can become an affiliate for those type of programs. Matter of fact, let's say you like certain books, right? You can actually do book reviews and, become an affiliate on Amazon and promote those books. You're recommending them because you've read them. Something simple, right? Think about that. Okay, so quickly, right now, what topics do you love to talk about and what kind of books do you read most often? Here are 2 others. On what do you spend most of your money? Right? The 2 biggest ways that we can figure out what we value in this life are what we spend most of our time on and what we spend most of our money on, okay? Especially our time. So that's why in relationships now, don't want to go off topic, but in relationships, you can tell, right? My wife spelled love this way, T-I-M-E, right? Because what you spend most of your time in, it is saying what you truly value. So I really look at what people do rather than what they say in this regards, because again, if I look at your bank statement every month and I notice there's a trend, wherever most of your money is going, that's where your values are. It doesn't matter what you say, right? Whatever you spending most of your time doing is what you truly love and value, right? So during the week, calculate, what are you spending most of your time on, all right? So again, do you read a lot of books, right? If you spend a lot of time doing that, then hey, that's telling you where your heart is. That's giving you a clue to what stirs your heart, to what you might be called to monetize, okay? So try to figure that out. Think about it. So write something very quickly on that. Let's go. What do you enjoy doing so much that you tend to lose track of time when you're doing it? Now, this is so amazing. Especially when I'm writing a book, sometimes I would stay 14 hours straight working on that thing. Sometimes you don't even want to get up to pee. It's that bad, right? So don't go overboard, right? But I'm just saying that's kind of the way you know that something is dear to you. Something is like, man, I just lose track of time. Like I said, I noticed there was a big difference. I love the military. It has served me well, and I did very well in the military. But when I got into nonprofit, man, it's like, I would go to the office sometimes, about 5:30 in the morning and don't leave till 6. But it never felt like work for 7 straight years. It never felt like work. I told people in those times I was never sick even, because the value, the joy, the fulfillment that I felt, it was even health to me, because I just never felt like I was working. I was enjoying what I was doing. I was totally fulfilled. And so that's the kind of stuff that I'm telling you guys. You have to figure out what it is that you're good at, what it is that stirs your heart, what do you love doing, or what causes you pain. And also, I just saw one of my friends actually make this Facebook post this morning. She was saying, how do you feel? What kind of emotions are conjured up when you don't have money? Right? A very good question. And I notice a lot of people put in, of course, the typical stuff. They're angry, they're frustrated, they feel sad and these type of stuff. And I went in there and I commented. I said, I feel motivated and I feel energized when I don't have money, because it moves me to actually go find some or ask for some or do something to get some. So that's what we're saying. Your pain can, yes, it can frustrate you. It can, cause you to be immobilized, but it can also propel you to take some action. And that's what this course is supposed to help you do. Don't be frustrated that you don't have money or can't have the time or the relationship freedom and the location freedom. Do something about it. Let that motivate you to say, I'm going to figure this thing out, and I'm going to go through these 7 steps and be able to now figure out what my skills are so I can monetize them and stop making the excuses, because at the end of the day, it's all excuses. But if you write and study and put down what do you enjoy doing most of the time, that can now lead you to figuring out what it is that you really want to do. Now, the next question is, what key experiences have I had and that hold important lessons for success in this thing or in this area? For example, what key experiences have I had in the military that hold success for business? See what I'm saying? What key experiences did I have when I was doing my nonprofit work that can help people start their own missions agency? Do you see what we're saying? What key experiences you've had overcoming depression that you can help others now to get out of depression? Hey, that will lead to a great book. That will lead to coaching and consulting. Okay? Now, another thing is for health. We are big in health and losing weight. Have you had the experience of losing 10 pounds in 10 days, for example? Or whatever. Have you lost 10 pounds or more? Write a book, create a course, and teach people how they can also write their own book, and not only that, but how they will lose the weight as well, because you've done it. You've had the experience, and now you can teach others the mindset that's required. That's what actually Dr. Susan Pierce Thompson, one of the 7-figure earners that's in your millionaire library in this course. Again, go back and read what she had to say. Right? But her thing is that as a professor, she had all of this knowledge and expertise. But then she figured out that many people herself couldn't lose weight because of what's going on here. So that's has become now her bread and butter. She makes over $2 million a year. Now she teaches many people, men and women, how to be able to lose weight, but not you necessarily in the traditional way per se, but she teaches them the mindset, because really that's where all the decisions start. And so that's the kind of stuff that we're telling you. If you figure these things out, write down your experiences. Have you had any significant experiences? Not only positive per se, I'm talking about even negative. Because remember, we said this is closely related to what causes you pain. So for example, if you've went through a divorce, now people will say, why should I read a book by someone who have had a divorce? No, I would read a book by someone who've had a divorce, because it's not only the positive things you want to learn, but I also want to learn not what to do, right? If you've gone through divorce and you can tell me how to avoid one, because you've survived one, then I want to read that book. But it also will help, especially your key market there now would be people who have gone through divorce. You can help people again find love again, to be able to forgive themselves, to be able to move forward. So if there's a lot of people who have had divorces and you have gone through it and you have rebounded, now you can be the expert in that because you're experienced. Okay? So what significant key life experiences you've had? For those in the academic world, if you know how to study well and you've been getting all, A's and, 4.0 GPAs, teach somebody else how to do that, right? That can be something that you monetize right away. You can teach online. You can do so many different things as well. Okay, so that's it. That's really it. It's so simple. That's what we have for Module 1. So your assignment is to complete every single question on this page, right? All of these questions. What do you love to do? What stirs your heart? What causes you pain? What kind of books and topics do you like to read and talk about? Where do you spend most of your money and time? What do you enjoy so much that you lose track of time? And what key experiences you've had that can be lessons for success or teaching people what to avoid. Then also go and take one or two or three, I recommend at least 3 of the assessment test that we spoke about, whether it's Colby or Strength Finders 2.0 or Career Direct, whichever one you want to do, please go ahead and do those. And that's what we want you to do even as you are starting module number 2. We see you there as well. So lastly now, let me give you this. If you can't figure it out, you can also look in the areas of education, expertise, and experiences. So for example, we don't want to leave out the academics. Like I said, I have all the way to doctoral degree, right? So now here's what you can do. What degrees and certifications do you have? And why did you get those degrees and certifications? Okay, so if you can't figure out from the other things what might be something you can use to monetize, trust me, these are the 3 areas that we really want you to focus on. It makes it much simpler. Now, if you have degrees in business, which is so broad, but what about maybe you might have majored in, like for example, I have a master's degree in project management. I can teach people about how to manage projects. I can teach people about bringing products and programs to life. That's why I'm doing this, right? That's why I've learned how to create digital products and programs. I manage programs and projects overseas, for example. And so all of that has to do with that idea of, getting things done in a certain way and so forth. So I'm a conceptual learner. So all of this, like I said, monetize your skills has actually been a direct result of my master's research project as well. So you can monetize that. My dissertation, I've used that to write at least 3 books now, right? So I've used sections of my dissertation and I've put them into books as well, okay? And I'm taking another program right now, but why am I doing that? Because the nonprofit that I was working with, I want to actually bring their stuff to life. So I'm doing another doctoral program right now to actually bring that to life. But at the end of it, though, it's going to be the principle and that journey, what I've learned and my coursework. I'm also bet you I'm going to put that into a book, a course, or something along the line. So that way I'm monetizing my education. Okay? So if you can answer these, so write down all the education that you had and the certifications that you've had, and now you can begin to tap into those to be able to now monetize and create something. Okay? If you have, for example, if you're a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, where you have a whole lot of education, right? So now, if you're a doctor, now you're making good money, but why not be able to leverage that and create books like you've seen probably through some of our programs here? We've helped physicians to be able to do that. I actually have one that just contacted me, and you're trying to work with him to take his books to bestseller status at the moment. But yeah, write books, create other courses, and consulting programs, and do speaking engagement on the side as well, right? So it's not limited to, just people who might not even be on that level. Now, another thing is, what will you do with what you've already learned and already mastered? In other words, how can you leverage that education? I'm suggesting to you, monetize it further. You don't have to disrupt your job or your business. Some people love their job. And I say this, everybody don't have to be in business. I know we promote entrepreneurship a lot, but here's the thing. This is what I do say though. Everyone does not have to be an entrepreneur, but everyone should be entrepreneurial. One more time. Everyone does not have to be an entrepreneur, but everyone should be entrepreneurial, right? So because we all got bills and our jobs, unfortunately, don't take care of them all. And we have causes that we need to sustain. Okay, now, honestly answer this question. Do you love the career path that those degrees and certification lead to, right? Are you satisfied with them? Write yes or no, and then I want you to further elaborate why. Why is it that you actually love that career path, or why you don't actually love that career path? Next question. What's your action plan to move forward and avoid paralysis of analysis, or paralysis by analysis? Don't overanalyze it. What's your action plan that you're going to actually move forward and get this thing done, right? And that's why I am called the implementation strategist. I stopped just simply coaching people, because most people, again, coaching implementation is a little bit, but I rather implementation strategist, because a lot of people have the knowledge, but they're not moving and doing something with it. Many people will take this course too and do nothing with it, right? And that's why we offer a next level for those who want to get into our implementation inner circle. I recommend that, right? Go and sign up for that. But there are also some who want to take the 100-day challenge. That's a special program within this course as well. So we can help you. Don't go at it alone. Implement. And then lastly, how much money do you actually want to make a week, a month, and a year? Your ideal, not what your mama said you should make, not what you even think you should make at this point. What is the ideal amount of money that you want to actually make, that you believe will be great? And don't just say $1 million. Like, I'm not talking about just wishing something. I'm talking about, what do you personally would want to make to feel valuable, at peace, no headache, no stress? You can have location freedom, time freedom, relationship freedom, all of it, right? What is that number? Then, what career or business can you get into that actually can pay you that kind of salary? I tell you, if you monetize your skills, especially online, no matter what that number is, this program can help you. Why? Because I have studied and researched and now interviewed many people. We have a show called The Monetize You Show, where we bring people on who are making this kind of stuff as well, or on their journey to making that. But also in this course, all of the 6-figure interviews and the Millionaire Expert Library, of course, that's exactly what it is. All those people are actually making 6 and 7 figures, guaranteed. So You take what you've learned from them and just simply let's implement it. All right. So that's all for module number 1. I hope that you will take some action. You have 2 simple steps. Again, go and take one of those assessment, whether it's the DISC, Career Direct, Strength Finders 2.0, whatever the case may be. Take one of those, and also the next step is for you to actually please do not go on to the next module without having filled out those blanks. It is simple. Answer those questions. Just write one simple thing, not a whole lot. Write 1 or 2 things there, but make sure that all of it is completed. I'll see you in module number 2.